What we are left with this morning is grief. Grief for the families of those killed, grief for the employees who have lost their coworkers, and grief for the many Americans struggling to understand how tragedies like this continue to occur again and again. They joined the Indianapolis community in trying to understand this senseless violence. And it seems to me that beyond the need of comfort for the grieving, we must guard against resignation or even despair. The assumption that this is simply how it must be, and that we might as well get used to it. We need the courage that compels courageous acts that push past weariness. I want to thank the first responders who arrived at the scene,
with dustpans and mops,
EMS personnel who provided medical care to those injured, and the brave IMPD officers who responded and who are now investigating the events of last night. By all accounts, these women and these men acted heroically, caring for victims and families and bringing order to a chaotic environment. I'll close by saying this. Indianapolis is a resilient community.
Yeah, they make linoleum.
Last night was a devastating blow, and its impact will be felt by our community for days and weeks to come. But in times of despair, I know that our residents will rally together and help one another make it through. The eyes of the nation are on Indianapolis.
No, they're not.
Today, in ways that we would never have hoped for.
Right.
And for those who only know of this city, what they have learned when we are hosting major events on a global stage, they would be forgiven for simply believing that the people of Indianapolis are known for kindness shown to those who come to visit.
Well, I've heard enough of this guy's tripe. So here we have another liberal, Democratic mayor in another failed city with gun violence. Now, this same guy wouldn't want, like, for instance, a guy who commits mass murder with a gun to be hung in public, because that might deter the next scumbag from taking a gun and killing innocent people. And guys like this, he'd like to kill babies, but not a killer. And so they perpetuate this folly of insanity in perpetuity. I mean, it's never going to change, lest I sound too cynical. You couldn't get all the guns out of this country if you tried. Number one. Number two, you'll never get the guns away from criminals. Number three, we have a societal breakdown. And I wonder what happened at this FedEx employer place that made this guy lose his cookies. Because you guys all turn your back and take the money from FedEx and Amazon while they abuse their workers en masse. And the only modality you can come up with is unions. And so instead of the tyranny of management, they'll have to be subjected to the tyranny of unionist thugs. But the politicians don't have to put up with that, so why should they care? It's a right-to-work state. And this is the same liberal mayor, like every other liberal mayor, that were proponents of defunding the police. But every time something happens to their cities or their buildings, they want to talk about heroes. They're not heroes. They did their job. I'll tell you a hero, Mayor. That's a civilian who attacks a guy with a gun on his own volition and beats them soundly. But you know what you would do? You'd arrest that guy. So we keep leaving it up to the constabulary, who always show up like the old cavalry in the old movies, a day late and $1 short, because they don't prevent this. They come with dustpans, mops, and brooms. And then we got to listen to insufferable politicians trying to feather their political and monetary nest by paying homage to the heroes who never seem to prevent any of this. It's not their fault. It's just the intrinsic nature of modern society, right? But you want to defund the police. You want to take tools away from them. But then you turn around and want to tell us what heroes they are because they came, did their job, and cleaned up the mess. So we're tired of it. And no, the whole world isn't in looking at Indianapolis. Frankly, pal, we don't give a shit because you are the orchestrators of this. You and the mayor of Minneapolis and de Blasio, homicides up 36%. How you doing? And Beetlejuice, the mayor of Chicago, up 33%. Violent crime, rape, and murder. How you doing? You want to talk about Atlanta, Memphis, Detroit, San Francisco, Los Angeles? Where do you want to talk to? All of those places run by libtards like you self-aggrandizing little twit. The eyes of the world are not on Indianapolis. We don't even care to watch the NFL anymore, so nobody even knows where you are because of BLM. But you supported BLM. Have a nice day.